This is the Healy Brothers Podcast.
All right, so I'm here with Brian Healy, and it's going to be one of our used car podcasts, but a little different. It's going to be really oriented towards used EVs. That's for reasoning, because the rebate's ending on, was it September 30th, right? So with that federal tax credit ending, like, how do you think that's going to affect whether it's the values, the sales for buyers, sellers? Like, what's that going to do going forward for used EVs?
It's a tough question. I wish I knew the answer. I think there could be a couple different scenarios. So, like I always say in all of our podcasts with used vehicles, everything stems from new. So what happens in the new car market is going to always dictate used cars. If there's huge rebates or if a car doesn't sell well new, it's going to affect used. The EV credit for new is going away also. So if the new cars have a $7,500 tax credit on a brand new car, and let's say that car's $40,000, and maybe the manufacturer is also subsidizing it by $2,500, you have $10,000 off. That means that same EV, if you're going to have it used, you're going to probably buy it at least $10,000 less than what MSRP is. So the rebate has been hurting the value somewhat of EVs. But then you can also get a $4,000 credit on the used EVs, so that helps buyers. Now, if that all goes away, I think that you're going to see a rise in the average transaction of a used EV because you can't get them new at as cheap. So used, the prices are going to go up also. But like you just touched, maybe demand goes down. So if demand goes down, supply and demand, then the values are going to kick back down as well because there's going to be too many of them out there and not enough buyers because they don't have that $4,000 credit on a used one or a $7,500.
That might have been what was enticing them to actually buy the vehicle. Because how are they currently holding their value?
So putting all used EVs in one bucket is tough. Some are doing better than others. Typically when like a vehicle just comes out, whether it's Hyundai or Kia or even Tesla creates a new model, it's always hot. And they're always going for MSRP or above new, and then used sometimes even above MSRP as a used vehicle. And then it always fizzles out. Look at the Tesla Cybertruck that were going for like $130,000 and now you can't give them away.
Yeah. Well under.
There's just so many outside factors that play into that. Maybe politics was a little bit of it. Maybe it was the Tesla itself. And it goes with all the brands. And that's just why it's so hard, I think, to predict these things. Because if I might say that these used EVs are going to hold their values better now that the EV credit goes away and you can't get them as cheap, then the manufacturers might come out and say, hey, we have too many new ones. So that $7,500 credit went away, but we're going to give everybody a $5,000 rebate.
And now it's going to do the same.
And then that's going to do, the same things they use.
Okay.
Everything always stems from new. And,
it makes sense.
It's how are those cars doing new? If they're hot new, they're going to be great used. If they can't sell them new, they're going to put huge rebates on them new. And then used values are going to take that MSRP, less whatever discounts from the dealers, less the rebates. And then there's that threshold of what's it worth used versus what it was brand new.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but how has the demand been over, like, let's say the last year I know the tax credit's been longer than that, but how has the demand been on used EVs to what obviously could potentially be after this tax credit goes away?
It's, I think it's probably different depending on what part of the country you're in. I think as you get to the metro areas, obviously the EVs do a lot better than maybe say Central Texas, where you're driving 60 miles to get anywhere, round trip each way. But the demand has been good. I mean, we're selling more EVs than we ever have.
What do you think we sell a month used?
Used, maybe 10. New is always going to be a greater number. I mean, at one point, I think we were selling almost 50 a month, and that's pretty good, especially because we're in that quasi location where we're not really suburb, we're not really metro, we're not really the sticks. A lot of people do commute, and
some people might drive 5 miles, some people might drive 100 miles a day.
Yeah, and the thing is, again, not every EV is created equal. Some are a little better than others. Some have better range than others, and an EV buyer isn't the same every single time too. Some people that are EV buyers want it because they want that $7,500 tax credit and they're new to EVs and they want to try it and maybe they love it. Now that same buyer, maybe they tried it and they're like, this is not for me, and they get out of it right away. Then you have people that want the EV because they are conscious of the environment, and that's the only reason why. And no matter how much they hate that car, they're going to love that car because they want to save the world, buying an EV. So there's a lot of different groups of people that are trying it out. And, we're at the point where the technology is there. 10 years ago, it wasn't. 10 years ago, you had to be like one of those, early on people that were willing to take a risk. Now, a lot of people, you get into a vehicle and you don't know the difference. I mean, I can't remember where I was the other day, but I'm sitting in some type of retail shop. I think it was the barber, and somebody pulls in with an EV, and it was a couple. They were probably like 80 plus years old, and you just wouldn't expect that 10 years ago. You would never see that. And now, they drive like normal cars. So I think that's a big selling factor.
Yeah, I took home a Silverado EV last week to do a driving review. That's an impressive vehicle, but that fits somebody that would want to commute.
Yeah.
Over 400 miles of range. My car's a little tough, right? I'm at like 280. If you're only charging 80%, it's like 225. It's like if you're traveling, let's say to the city, you're coming home every day. It's like 50%, right? And we have a lot of people that do travel down to the city daily.
Yeah.
So you're coming home with like 50%. That makes it a little tough. I think we had a used, I don't know if we still have it, a Mini Cooper.
I don't think so.
114 miles of range.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's specifically geared towards cities.
Yeah, it's a smaller car, but you got to think for people up here, if you got a 50-mile commute down to the city or 45, whatever it might be, you got 114 miles of range, even if you're charging
no
at home.
traffic, decent 70-degree weather, not too hot, not too cold.
Right.
That takes.
Yeah, so that's where, like, how you were saying with us, like, it's tough because we're in that middle ground.
Yeah.
So certain cars might fit, certain cars might not. But I don't want to talk about sales. Like, do you see kind of like a push before the deadline? Like, do you see a lot of people possibly like taking advantage of the new and used tax credit before it goes away?
I think the new, mainly because the used tax credit, so both you have to fit certain income requirements. The new vehicle rebate, the income requirements are greater than for used.
That's pretty high.
So, it just makes that pool just that much smaller.
And the used is very specific too.
No, it's actually the other way. The used goes for it. It's more, it's specific where it can't be more than, I think, 30%.
I'm forgetting about the domestic part too.
Yeah, the domestic part is just for new.
For
used, it could be a Tesla, it could be a Bolt EV, it could be a Volt, and it goes much farther back. It just can't be more than, I think, 2 current year model years new. So, and it's up to 7,500. I'm sorry, up to 4,000. Where on the new side, it's blanketed. MSRP has to be a certain criteria or less, just 7,500 as long as you meet the income requirements. Where on the used side, it's up to 4,000 based off of the transaction price of the car, and it cannot be sold for more than 30,000. So when the average price of vehicles keep going up and up and up, and especially EVs with the cost of the batteries, so you have to sell a pre-owned vehicle EV less than 30,000. There's just not that many out there. A lot of the ones that we have are maybe 1 or 2 years old. It's off lease. It's the person drove it, did their lifestyle change, they got out of it, and they're still in that above $30,000, retail range. So they don't fit the criteria.
So now, was that cap, was that causing, like, let's say people at Manheim to like not want to go over that threshold?
Yeah, I mean,
like when they were bidding on used EVs, not wanting to go past a certain number.
Yes, and it's just a tough program because I know that when it was created, it was in the best interest, but it was written a little funky too, where if it's a used vehicle and you bought a used vehicle and got the $4,000 credit already and you drove that car for a year and now you traded it in, technically that car's not supposed to get that $4,000 credit again, even though it's being sold to something different.
No.
But as a dealer, we have no way of knowing that. I mean, we've sent some information to New York State Auto Dealers Association, NADA, try to get a hold of their lawyers. And I mean, they're being hit with questions left and right. And there was they're like, we've never heard that question before because we had a Bolt and we wanted to resell that Bolt. And I spoke with Bill Birmingham up in Poughkeepsie. He's like, I want to, but the car was just purchased 8 months ago from a dealer in New Jersey. How do I know that that dealer didn't already sign up? They didn't sign up for the EV credit and provide it to the first customer. I can't provide it to the second customer, but I don't know if they did. So I'm not doing anything wrong by saying that, you know, that we haven't done it in the past. It's just, it's a weird gray area, and it just makes dealers really confused.
That I didn't know at all. I thought it was like one time per customer. I didn't know it would have been one.
No, on the
Not
used,
vehicle.
on the, it's one time per customer, I think, for the new side, but with this used thing, it's for the car. And it was just written really weird. You send chats in the IRS website and you get a response back like 3.5 months later. So that doesn't help. And they just refer to the playbook basically, and it's vague. So it was tough for us, but not all dealers signed up for the federal EV tax credit to give the customer as a rebate. So right now, let's go back to the new side. It was just domestic vehicles that qualified. So a lot of Hyundai and Kias and Mitsubishis, all these other vehicles that didn't qualify, that now these brands are making them in the United States, they qualified.
They build plant.
Those dealers, they never signed up. They're not part of it. And if you buy the vehicle from them, they're going to tell you, hey, you just have to file for it on your taxes and you'll get that $7,500, you know, credit. We signed up all of our stores on day one. You know, some of the GMs from the stores that had the import brands are like, well, we're never going to do this, so I don't want to deal with it. And I'm like, we're signing every store up. I went through, I mean, the stack of paperwork this big per store that we had to handle, but now we're in there. The Kia store, you know, the Kias now have a vehicle that qualifies, and they're doing it. And we're ahead of the game, where if maybe a competitor of ours, that customer shopping us versus them, well, I can give them a $7,500 credit as a rebate up front. And then if you go to the other store, now you have to pay $7,500 more, but you're going to get it back when you file next year.
Yeah, but everyone would rather have it up front.
100%.
You're trying to lower that MSRP.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, it might be nice to get that check at the end of the year, but in my perspective, when I bought my car,
get it now.
I wanted to just take it off the price of the car when I was purchasing it rather than waiting.
Yep.
You know, like I bought it in like February or something, I would have been waiting, you know, a year to get it.
There's a lot of variables. One of the things about the big, beautiful bill is the being able to deduct the interest for a car loan, but it has to be an American-made car.
Yeah, I really like the incentive, but that's
it is up to $10,000, but it's the interest only. So, I mean, that can, you know, might affect certain things with what vehicles are being purchased or not. So I wish I had all the answers. Be flying around on a Gulfstream right now if I had the answer to everything. It's really, it's just, they're guesses at this point of just, you know, what might happen. But whatever could happen, you have these big, huge companies that can just make a change. And General Motors might say, well, you know what? The credit went away. I'm just going to drop MSRP of $5,000 on every EV just to compensate. Well, then what's going to happen? It's going to change the used side. Demand is too high. Yeah. Demand becomes too slow on the new side. They're going to do whatever. And then maybe it affects used. So
this is really interesting because they can really go one of both ways.
Yeah.
Because if they continue to sell used and the average transaction price from new is lower than their used value, I mean, average transaction price new is higher.
Yeah.
They'll hold their value better.
They should.
But if transaction numbers decrease and they're sitting on dealer lots or whatnot,
then they're going to be blown out at a lower number, and then it generally affects the used car side. So
it can really go either direction.
That's why, you know, in our industry, everything is month to month. It's not quarter to quarter. We're like the only industry out there where we don't look at things on a quarterly basis. It's month to month, month to month, and it changes so drastically that, you know, I could take that car in on trade. What are we today? The 14th. You know, maybe I take it on trade on the 25th of July, and something changes like that, and then in August it's like a 20% difference. You know, it could be up or down. It's you just gotta go with the flow. You just can't be slow with making changes.
Yeah. All right. I mean, this will be interesting to see. I'm really curious. I mean, because EVs is like, I've seen more people buy them recently, and everybody I know that has bought one has been due to the rebate. Like that was what led them to buy the car. Whether it was Steve bought his used, technician Braden bought his Blazer new, like whatever it was, what led them to get the car was the tax credit.
Yep.
So that's why I didn't even think about the average transaction on new being higher to possibly stop EVs from depreciating as quick, because they do depreciate really fast. Like Teslas depreciate like immediately.
Yeah.
So I never even thought about the average transaction price, because it's just everyone I knew bought it because of the rebate. So I was just assuming, and back of my head was, once that rebate went away, less people would be buying them. That's the only thing I thought of. I didn't even think about
And it could,
the average transaction.
yeah, but like I said, the manufacturers could do something to help compensate that.
Yeah.
Government could come out with something different. There's just so many factors. It's not linear. I mean, it's coming out in so many different directions that you just gotta go with the flow, and you can't be slow to change. And could something, I said monthly. Sometimes it could be weekly. Things change, as we've seen in the last 60, 90 days.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and follow us at Healy Brothers on all social platforms.